Parallels. What I define as a parallel in the context of Red Dead Redemption is when something occurs early in the game that resembles or foreshadows or reflects something from later in the game, and vice versa. The most apparent parallels in this game happen at two distinct parts, Chapter 1 and Chapter 6. I'll go into how both of these chapters are incredibly similar, and although have two very different moods attached to them, they are incredibly more similar than it first appears. Not only do these parallels show the sheer strength of the Rockstar writing team, but it shows that the core points and themes of the game are present even from the very beginning. I'm gonna try to be as thorough as I can with these parallels, but there are a lot of them. There's some small ones, there's some big ones. I'm gonna do a healthy mix of both, but I think at the end of this you'll see how much the game parallels itself in so many different ways. This is the time I'm gonna give the absolute biggest spoiler warning I possibly can. I'm going to spoil every single aspect of this game, every character death, the ending, anything you can possibly think that I might spoil, I will spoil it. So if you have not played the game and you have even the smallest amount of interest in playing it, please leave, because I'm gonna be spoiling all of it. All right, we good? All right, let's get started.
Abigail says he's dying, Dutch. We'll have to stop someplace.
If we don't stop soon, we'll all be dying.
Davy's dead.
There was nothing more you could have done.
The chapter has just started, and there already is a character death. You want to know what other chapter starts with a character death?
She knew the rules, Arthur. What the hell is wrong with you?
The theme of death is introduced immediately, and honestly, most people forget about it. The player never knew Davy. Arthur knew Davy. To us, he was a nobody. We hear about him barely throughout the game in little tidbits here and there about the Calendar Boys, but we never actually got to meet Davy. Molly, on the other hand, we knew very well. We knew Molly throughout the entire game, which is why when Molly is shot at the beginning of Chapter 6, it hits so much more because that's a character that you actually know. However, they were about equal to Arthur. Arthur knew both of them for a pretty similar amount of time, but to us, Molly's death is so much more impactful.
7 years? We won't see 7 years out. Don't be ridiculous.
But I'm getting way ahead of myself. We gotta go back to Chapter 1. After Davy dies, Dutch gives a very long speech about how hard the journey has been and just giving some recognition to the people that died. But he is very specific with this quote here.
Now, if I could throw myself in the ground in their stead, I'd do it gladly. But
that but is so big to me because it just really embodies the whole thing with Dutch sacrificing so many people for his own goal with his obsession for this outlaw life. He pretends to want to get out of it, but never actually seeks it hard enough to save the people he claims to care about.
I ain't had time to ask. What really went down back there on that boat?
we missed you. That's what happened.
Let's start at the first mission of Chapter 1, which takes place right after the speech ends. Firstly, Dutch and Arthur head out into the snow, trying to see if they can find John or Micah. They end up finding Micah. Micah tells them about a house that sounds like there's a party going on. They all head there. They find out there's O'Driscoll's there. Big shootout ensues. They loot the place. Arthur loots the barn. Fist fight ensues with an O'Driscoll. Come back, they find Sadie. Then they get out of there because Micah's dumbass burnt the house down.
Oh, you fool! Micah!
Let's start with the obvious. In this mission, the three main people are Dutch, Arthur, and Micah. This is the exact same main lineup you have in the final mission of Chapter 6. You have Dutch once more, you have Arthur, and you have Micah. Obviously, the whole tone of the mission is quite different, but there's a few more key similarities that you have with this exact same cast for this mission. Funny enough, Micah burning the house down is a parallel in its own, because Micah well, pretty much metaphorically burns the house down. When it comes to the end of chapter 6, because Micah is this catalyst for catastrophe by being a rat, by being this snake in Dutch's ear that causes the gang in a certain way to burn down, to fall apart. And I find that interesting that in both of these chapters, Micah burns the house down. In the mission in chapter 1, a fist fight ensues between Arthur and an O'Driscoll who attacked him from behind. And they, battle it out, and Arthur ends up on top. In the last mission in chapter 6, Arthur and Micah get into a fight when Micah attacked him from the back, and Arthur ends up losing. But Dutch actually is involved in both of these fistfights in the same role, as a spectator. In the chapter 1 mission, Dutch is also watching as this fight happens. As Arthur is finishing the interrogation with the O'Driscoll, Dutch says this.
Well, I would say it looks like you have this, Arthur. Do what you want with him. I don't care.
This really echoes the chapter 6 mission, because after the fight with Micah, Dutch leaves them both. Leaves Arthur and Micah. He sees it all falling apart before him, and he leaves. Kind of similar to how he kind of leaves it up to Arthur in a sense in chapter 1. A big thing for me when it comes to games is music, and Red Dead is no exception. At the end of this mission in chapter 1, the song Outlaws from the West starts to play. This song comes up a few times in the game, but I really want to point out 2 times that this happens. In this mission, the song starts playing, and it is a very brass-heavy, triumphant sounding, uplifting version of the song. This song plays again at the end of the game, right after the train robbery, and leading into the final mission of the game, Red Dead Redemption. This time around, the song sounds very different. It is much more somber, and it doesn't have that sense of triumphance anymore, but more of a sense of loss and nostalgia, like a memory of a time gone by. Visually, these 2 instances parallel each other as well, because in the first one, with the triumphant version in chapter 1, they are leaving more or less a failed mission. And the triumphant music is playing, and they are riding from the east to the west. And in chapter 6, they are leaving what on paper is a successful mission. They successfully robbed the train. And they are now moving from the west to the east, just like the song is titled. And I think it's kind of funny. This time they go from west to east, and I think that it implies that this is the true version of the gang with this successful mission, but with a somber tone to it because of loss, because of the loss of the entire game, because of John being presumed dead from that mission.
I was on the train and I didn't see it.
No!
But we know John doesn't die there. We know John is too tough for that. Speaking of which, let's move straight into the second mission of chapter 1.
Javier?
Yes.
Javier, will you ride out with Arthur to take a look for John?
I know. The situation were reversed. You look for me.
This mission is very simple. Javier and Arthur head on out into the snow, track some footprints through the snow, find a dead horse, and then find John stuck at the top of a mountain, where we see how he got his famous scar, which was by wolves. We throw him on our shoulder and head back to the horses. That is when we are encountered by 3 wolves. Remember this for later, it's important, I promise. I'll get the obvious parallel out of the way between this game and Red Dead Redemption 1, where in this mission, Javier goes to save John from certain death,
You look for me.
while in Red Dead 1, John goes after Javier to either lock him up or kill him.
Hello, old friend. It's been a long time.
Hello, brother. It's good to see you.
The main parallel I want to talk about when it comes to chapter 1 and 6 is that the first thing that Arthur does with John in Red Dead 2 is save him. And the last thing that Arthur does in the game is save John once more.
I'll hold him off. It would mean a lot to me. Please. Ain't no more time for talk. Arthur! Get the hell out of here and be a goddamn man.
After this mission in chapter 1, you are given 2 missions you can do. The first one I'm going to talk about is the mission, The Aftermath of Genesis. Firstly, I want to talk about the title of the mission, The Aftermath of Genesis. I believe that this refers to 2 things. Firstly, Genesis means beginning, like in the Bible, and this is talking about the aftermath of the beginning. And this takes place after all the crazy shit has happened in the beginning, because you have the mission with Dutch, Arthur, Micah, and finding Sadie, and you have the mission with saving John. Both very high intensity missions. And this next one is much more calm and relaxing, because all you're doing in this mission is going to hunt with Charles. The other thing that I think this is talking about is because the title Aftermath of Genesis, biblically, I think refers to the fact that after the flood in Genesis, in the Bible, God tells Noah that, quote, every moving thing that lives shall be food for you, because after the flood in the Christian Bible, God lets mankind start to eat animals after this. And this whole mission is about hunting deer. And I think that that's just a really cool reference that they're trying to make.
Stop here a second.
The mission itself is very simple. Arthur and Charles need food for the gang, so they head on out, they find deer, they kill 2 deer, they head back. But the important thing, funny enough, that happens on the way back is they encounter a bear that they leave alone. The bear leaves, and then they keep going and they head back to camp. There's really only one main thing I want to talk about with this mission, and it is what Charles says when they encounter the bear here.
Bear up ahead. Let's see if we can find another way around.
He's got a lot of meat on him.
We've got enough here. No need to push our luck. He must be real hungry. Stay well back.
The bear in this quote specifically reminds me of one antagonist very clearly in the game, and that is Mr. Leviticus Cornwall.
My name is Leviticus Cornwall.
Because just at the end of chapter 1, Hosea warns against going to rob Cornwall.
Leviticus Cornwall's no joke, Dutchie.
Who is Leviticus Cornwall?
He must be real hungry. Stay well back.
He's a big railway magnate, sugar dealer, oil man.
Well, how good for him. Sounds like he has more than enough to share.
Dutch!
He's got a lot of meat on him.
We've got enough here. No need to push our luck.
I would argue that this is paralleling Cornwall in the sense of not poking the bear. To really hammer this point home, I gotta take a quick detour into chapter 2, because what's the first mission you do with Hosea in chapter 2? You go and hunt a bear, which I believe is even further paralleling the bear in chapter 1, meaning Cornwall. Especially because after the failed hunt of the bear in chapter 2, Hosea says this.
You know what, Arthur Morgan, I'm a little old and beaten up to be after the biggest game.
And then you look at chapter 6, where at this point Hosea sadly died, and the wise guide of wisdom is no longer in Dutch's ear, and funny enough, at this point is fully replaced by Micah. And Dutch is doing a complete 180 where he is running towards the bear, in this case Cornwall, to kill him, which just makes matters worse.
I'll do no such thing. You sure? Good. I prefer it this way.
You lost your mind!
Noise, Arthur! Noise!
Dutch has always put chaos above all, which is definitely a reason he got along with Micah so well. He's so obsessed with the outlaw life, so naturally he is obsessed with revenge.
Stop it! Now! You fools punching each other when Como Driscoll's needing punching hard.
In the fourth mission in chapter 1, titled Old Friends, Dutch goes after Como Driscoll and his gang. And the mission is pretty standard. They go there, they look out, They shoot the place, they rob the place, and then they leave. Real quick, small parallel I'll talk about is that Bill and Arthur go get dynamite together in Chapter 1 and Chapter 6, which I think is a fun detail. While the essence of this mission is pretty simple, there's a good amount to unpack. Firstly, the title of the mission, Old Friends, is talking about Dutch and Colm, which we find out later in Chapter 3 with a side mission between Javier and Arthur, where Arthur talks about this.
You know, way back in the day, Colm O'Driscoll and Dutch were sort of friends.
Friends.
Well, not friends, but they had an understanding.
There are two missions that this parallels. The first one is when Dutch goes after Leviticus Cornwall, and the second one is when he goes after Colm O'Driscoll, both of these happening in Chapter 6. In Chapter 1 even, Arthur calls Dutch out for going on a revenge mission even when he claims it's not.
I know you hate him, Dutch.
He's here for us.
I doubt that.
Nope, you're just doubting me.
I would never doubt you, Dutch. You always said revenge is a luxury we can't afford.
This is the right call, Arthur. Take this. And this is about more than revenge for business long ago.
We see Arthur call Dutch out again when he goes after Leviticus Cornwall.
Leave Cornwall alone. He ain't... We need money, but revenge? Now?
Of course it's for money.
Come on, Arthur.
This better not be no stupid revenge mission, Dutch. It ain't worth it.
Don't be ridiculous.
Oh, Arthur, it's just a simple social call.
When Dutch goes after Colm in Chapter 6, this mission is titled Goodbye, Dear Friend, further paralleling the mission from Chapter 1 called Old Friends. In this mission, Arthur doesn't even need to call Dutch out. Dutch straight up admits that this is for revenge.
You lost your husband. I lost my darling Annabelle. That poor boy Kieran. We've all lost something because of Colm. And that is why we will shepherd him to eternity.
Dutch has time and time again chosen his personal vendettas instead of the gang. Especially here. If Dutch had left Colm alone, if you really think about it, if Dutch had left Colm alone and Colm had escaped captivity, it would have given the Pinkertons and general law enforcement another target to go after, which just naturally would take heat off of Dutch's back. But nope, Dutch needs his revenge. It's finally time to talk about the last mission of Chapter 1. And you may be going, wait a minute, there's 2 missions left in Chapter 1. Don't you worry, it's all going to plan.
Get your horses ready. We have a train to rob. All right, we're moving out. Follow me.
As you are hearing right now, the song Outlaws from the West plays once more at the beginning of this mission. Again, like an uplifting vibe to it, similar to the first mission of the game. Let's get a quick recap of this mission going first. Arthur and a bunch of the gang head to the train tracks to try to blow it up to stop a train so they could rob it. The dynamite does not go off and then they have to jump onto the train. Arthur and Lenny go through the train cars, shooting all the guards to get to the front of the train to stop it. They eventually get to the front, stop the train, have to shoot a bunch more of them. Dutch and the rest of the gang shows up, they break in, they steal bonds, and then they leave. Let's start looking for parallels at the very beginning of this mission. Before anything even happens, the first cutscene is of Arthur and Dutch checking on John, and John is too injured to go on this train robbery.
Want me to come?
Of course I do, but look at you.
I was always ugly, Dutch. It's just a scratch.
And Jack and Abigail have come to check on him, and Abigail is upset with him, and they say this.
You see me now. What's left of me? What about you?
Guess I was hoping to see a corpse.
Bide your time. You'll see plenty of them.
You're a rotten man, John Marston.
He is an idiot, Abigail. We all know it.
John is too injured to go on this robbery, and Abigail is mad at John for getting himself hurt. This scene is very similar yet opposite to the final Red Dead 2 mission where John and Arthur go rob a train again, and this time John gets injured on the mission and Abigail is distraught. She is breaking down because of this, assuming he died. 2 things that this shows, really, in my opinion, is how much John has matured since the beginning of the game, where Abigail is so heartbroken by this.
The next thing that happens is Hosea talks with Dutch and gives him a warning not to go on the mission because of Leviticus Cornwall, like I pointed out earlier.
Yeah, come on. What do you want from me, Hosea?
I just don't want any more folks to die, Dutch.
What I didn't say earlier is that in chapter 6, Arthur gives a very similar type of speech to Dutch, further pointing out, in my opinion, how Hosea has kind of influenced Arthur significantly more at this point of the game.
One more big score. We got enough money to leave. All this turmoil has the army and Pinkerton spinning. We take a boat and slip away.
I don't know what you're saying, Dutch, but it seems like I've heard it all before.
Just one more
And there's
train.
always a goddamn train.
Arthur, this is different.
You know, the women and the children. And John and his family. I'm afraid I have to insist. I mean, we gotta let them go, because if the Pinkertons come through again, they will kill everyone.
John? Insist?
Yeah. Insist.
Hosea throughout the entire game is seen as a pillar of wisdom. After Hosea dies, I think Arthur starts becoming that figure. And we see all throughout chapter 6 that Arthur wants to save the rest of the gang and that the thrill of the outlaw life isn't the end goal anymore. This whole idea parallels the entire title of the last Red Dead 2 mission.
The final mission of Red Dead 2 is kind of split in half because one leads into the other with no pausing. And the first part is called Our Best Selves.
In the chapter 1 mission, right here to go rob Cornwall's train, Dutch says this.
Dutch! Gentlemen, it is time to make something of ourselves.
In chapter 6, the title of the mission is Our Best Selves. I think that this is really showing when Arthur and Dutch become their best selves. And I take best meaning true selves, not the good version of them, but the true version of them. Arthur is this character now who deeply cares about the gang and doesn't care about the outlaw life anymore and wants to help people, and Dutch is truly himself and is only in this for his own personal benefit.
And that's every mission in chapter 1. I guess that's it. Wait. I hear something. What is that? I can see it too. It's like so far in the distance. Oh my goodness, wait, is that...
It's John Marston, Micah!
Of course I have to talk about the epilogue. If I didn't, what would I even be doing? This video has an epilogue in itself. That's the greatest mind trick I've played this whole time. This video itself is a parallel to Red Dead Redemption 2. Remember when I talked about the 3 wolves earlier? You better not have forgotten. It was very important. In the second mission of chapter 1, when Arthur and John encounter those 3 wolves, they are in a very similar position to when John encounters Joe and his 2 goons at the top of the mountain. You may have noticed that I didn't actually talk about the actual last mission of chapter 1, which is called Eastward Bound. This is because, in my opinion, I see how this mission is so similar to the first mission of the epilogue that I more or less consider it its own epilogue, in a sense, of chapter 1. In the final mission of chapter 1, Arthur and the rest of the gang are heading out of the snow into the Heartlands, where Arthur says his titular line,
I broke the goddamn wheel.
and in the epilogue, the first mission of the epilogue is titled The Wheel, where John and his family are again on a carriage heading out from wherever they were. It's just like how Arthur and the gang was in chapter 1. And of course we have to talk about the actual finale of the game with John and Dutch and Micah. Again, very similar lineup to the first mission of chapter 1, except this time it's John. But even more important is Charles and Sadie are both there, which each have their own respectable dedicated missions in chapter 1. You have Sadie at the very beginning and Charles with his own mission with Arthur, even more completing this parallel and all of the other intricate details and parallels throughout chapter 1 and chapter 6.
I ain't got too much to say no more.
Hi, it's me, Flameboy, who was secretly behind the screen the whole time talking about this game. Anyways, I really hope you enjoyed this. I had a blast making it. This is my first video essay I've ever made, So I hope you enjoyed it. I have a bunch of more stuff planned. If you have any parallels that I didn't notice, I didn't think of, I didn't point out, please put it down in the comments. I would love to see what other people think. And yeah, if you want more of me, I am live on Twitch every single weekday at 6 p.m. PST. It's a fun, awesome, fun time over there. I can promise you that. I have more stuff planned, so make sure to subscribe, and I'll see all you cool, awesome gamers in the next one. Bye-bye.
Cruel, cruel world, must I go on? Cruel, cruel world, I'm moving on. I've been living too fast, and I've been living too wrong. Cruel, cruel world, I'm gone.